Welcome to Dare to Dream. I'm your host, Iguma Gabriel. This is a forum that brings you young entrepreneurs who've had the courage to turn their dreams into reality. Today, we meet Blessed Grace Aleng, the CEO of Graceland Rabbits. Grace has a unique touch she's added to the business of selling rabbits. Let's watch this feature and see more about her business. Blessed Grace Aleng is a 23-year-old entrepreneur. She stays with her maternal aunt in Chireka. Grace has a humble background, and in a bid to find tuition to join the university, she discovers an ingenious way of making money. This idea comes to Grace while she's enjoying a plate of stew at her grandmother's place in Nebi.
When I tasted the plate of rabbit stew, it tasted like meat no other. And I'm telling you, from that day onwards, I didn't know that that single plate of rabbit stew would have made me, I would birth something more and something better than even that single plate.
On her journey back to the city, Grace is thinking of nothing but rabbits.
So I come back to Kampala and then I look around for rabbit. I'm basically now interested in rabbit. I look around and I never find any rabbit. So I'm like, okay, now what am I going to do?
Frustrated with her fruitless search, Grace decides to carry out research on rabbit farming. After a few months of study, she's ready to start.
Now when it reaches June, I'm like, okay, now I think I'm ready to have my very first rabbit farm. And I'm telling you, I decided to pick 380 that I had saved. I picked it, I went, and I decided to have a rabbit house made, and I bought my very first 5 rabbits. So basically I started with 5 rabbits. Rabbits take about 28 to 32 days to reproduce. Within 5 months, Grace has grown from owning just 5 rabbits to well over 70 rabbits. But she soon realizes that just having plenty of rabbits isn't enough to give her a competitive edge in the marketplace. She needs to find a way of making her business unique. Her breakthrough comes while she's attending a business training course with the International Labour Organization. Around August, we had start and improve your business idea training by ILO, but it is called SIYB training. It was called then. We had it from 17th, and then the last day was 21st, whereby we were able to exhibit our things that we do.
Grace is one of the few trainees asked to showcase her products.
And then my trainers were like, you do rabbits, can you exhibit tomorrow on 21st? And that was Wednesday, and I remember the exhibition was supposed to be on Thursday. I was like, okay, now I don't have anything for exhibiting, what do I do? So I go cut some rabbits, pack them. So that is the very first day I ever had packed rabbits. That is the day that actually Toki Bits was born.
The simple idea of selling rabbits as packed meat provides Grace with a larger market for her produce, such as supermarkets, restaurants and clubs, and also prompts her to diversify her product offering even further.
Toki Bits is our product name. It's a great product of Graceland Rabbits. Well, Toki Bits is a word the word Toki comes from a Japanese word. It's a Japanese word for rabbits. Now, the reason why we use Toki Bits is because we made a research. During the time I was making my research, I realized that people always were interested. Very many people, apart from learning Spanish and French, people are next interested in learning Japanese. And I realized that in case I use something that people are so interested in learning, they will get to know the word. And I also realized that the Japanese eat rabbits. They do enjoy rabbits next to the Italians and the French. That's when we came out with the word Toki. Now Toki Bites is the bites, the part of the bites.
Today, under the Toki Bites brand, she sells packed sausages, rabbit fillet, whole rabbit, and rabbit liver. Grace is a busy lady today. She spends her time attending to the rabbits at the farm, supplying her outlets, and through the network she has built, exhibiting her products. From the delicious rabbit stew she sipped at her grandmother's place, she has built a budding business called Graceland. After watching that feature, if any of you is like me, you feel like eating some rabbit stew right now. But we're on TV and we're not going to have people watch us eating. Grace, welcome to the show. Tell us about your business, particularly costing. What costs do you incur in order to make your business a success?
Well, I do a number of costs. Amongst the first cost, of course, there are the material costs, and then but mainly I do the material costs a lot because here I've got to have the rabbits reared or bought, because as you know, rabbits are my main materials, and also. And then I have the people to help. Like most people right now, I have around 5 people that are working with me, but they don't work for me to pay them like real money now, because I may not have the funds to like pay them right now, so they volunteer. But as they volunteer, I also get a coin or two and give it to them, so also that one goes to my costs as my labor cost. Okay. And then I also have the final cost of the product, which ends up including all those other things. Like mostly for the sausages, I have a long list of materials to cost down.
Okay, and after you get your costs and the price at which you sell your product, do you actually make a profit?
Yeah, I do end up making a profit. Like for instance, if I make like 7 kilos of rabbit meat to make a sausage, that means I've slaughtered about 14 rabbits. So the 14 rabbits could have costed me around 200,000, and then that is I'm costing sausages in particular, and then I have the casings. Then I may end up using a casing, like around 3 casing sticks, and I have the nutmeg, all those other materials that are put into it. But then also when I'm costing, I don't forget my utility costs, and that is the indirect labor. I mean indirect costing. I also don't forget all of that, because they are key in me getting to know and getting to understand my business and whether or not I'm making a profit or a loss.
Okay, Grace, you can see I'm seated here with a number of young people. Some are entrepreneurs, others are aspiring entrepreneurs, and I'm sure there are some who tried and failed, and they want to learn from your example. So let's allow them to ask you questions. Right, there's a lady at the front.
A friend of mine gave me 2 pairs of rabbits, but unfortunately I didn't ask which type they gave me, because in your feature you showed us here, they say there is a gestation of 28 days to 30, but
to 32.
But mine are now taking over 3 months. I don't know where the problem lies. Thank you.
All right, you didn't give us your name.
I'm Catherine Wanyana.
I hope the rabbits you have are not male, because we waited for 5 years.
No.
All right, please respond to Catherine's question.
I may also ask you, do you keep these rabbits together all the time? Like, how long do they stay together?
They are intact every time.
Okay.
And now, in a dark place.
Thank you.
Situation is cozy enough.
Ladies and gentlemen, I actually think Catherine has answered her own question. Because if these rabbits are in a dark place, most especially in in a dark room and they can't see light, that means they feel they are imprisoned. And rabbits are very sensible. I mean, they're very sensitive. They like concentrate a lot to their environment, to the sort of the way you keep them, and they're also they're so aware of the environment. But also the fact that you keep them together all the time may also be a huge problem on your case, because when you have these rabbits kept together all the time, the male and the female, that means they're going to be mating every now and then, and when the female gets pregnant and then they mate, that means she's going to lose the children. So you've been losing a big series of children, about 3 times now.
So what is she supposed to do?
Okay, that glitters actually. What you're supposed to do is give them some days, calculate the days. For instance, if so now I'm going to ask you to separate them for 2 weeks. After the 2 weeks, you're going to pick them and bring in the male. The male will you may give it around 1 hour to 30 minutes, and then take it out from the female. Yeah, and then you're going to get a great result.
Okay, thank you, Grace.
All right, let's take another question.
I'm Namuli Aisha, an SIYB trainer from International Labour Organization. We happened to train some of the youths, and one of them decided to start the same business as yours. And the problem is he happens to lose most of the rabbits. Yeah, it produces, but after some time, the rabbits die. So I would like you to give advice to such people who are facing the same kind of problem. Thank you.
Actually, I have gotten such a feedback from very many other youths that I've been trying to work with right now. And one of the biggest challenges, the biggest mistake that we do as rabbit farmers here, we end up, actually, I could say, as I already told you, that rabbits are sensitive. So they're actually the most disciplined animals you could ever get. Maybe they're even more disciplined than us human beings. Because a rabbit, when it gives birth, when the mother gives birth, and then the children like grow up, and then again they mate with the mother, and also maybe the litters in between them mate with each other. They're going to get pregnant, fine, but then when they give birth, they're going to have to lose all the litters. No, we don't call it incest in rabbitary, but we call it inbreeding. So what your student is facing is a problem, a challenge of inbreeding.
And so, how do you deal with that?
With inbreeding, you're going to take out the other males that are like, the brother males, like those other ones that have been born by the same parents and everything. You're going to separate them, take off those males, and if possible, you could either castrate them for better results, because if you castrate them, they're going to definitely, bulge in size, and definitely they're going to give you the best meat. That's what I would want for turkey bits, because turkey bits we concentrate on meat. So, and then, or else you could actually sell them off. There are very many people who want pets, and I'm sure some of us here in this room today have, we have children, and these children want to be responsible for something, and a rabbit is one thing that a child may want to be responsible for, because it's a sweet animal.
Okay, how many rabbits do you have?
I started with 5. I should maybe begin answering from there. After like 4 months, I had 70, and then I had trouble with my house, and most of them were dying off. And then I sold others. Then I ended up, now I'm having 38.
How many?
38.
38?
Yeah.
How much money do you use to feed these 38?
Oh, that's a big question. Why? Because these guys eat all the time. When I think if one time someone tells you that, you know what, you actually eat like a rabbit, then just know that that person has abused you to the limit, because they eat non-stop. But then to cut on my costs, I normally give them food twice a day. I'm not starving them, but I'm disciplining their eeating habits.
And how much do you spend on feeding them?
So on feeding them for like a whole week, for with all the food values included, I may incur around that 25,000.
About 25,000
yes,
shillings.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to go for a break right now, but we have a trainer with us right now. He works with ILO under their youth entrepreneurship facility, training youth on how to start and grow your business. Give us a business tip before we go for this break.
I am Joseph Bazibu. I am a Start and Improve Your Business trainer with the International Labour Organization, and my job means that I help young people and women to create their own jobs through small business, innovation and development. But I'm also a business person. If I go back to your story, you talked about costing. I want to make it clear that Uganda is a very entrepreneurial country. I think the most entrepreneurial in the world. But we also know that 90% of the business in Uganda collapse before their first birthday. And this is attributed to poor business management skills. Skills like costing. I can tell you my interaction with small business owners. If you ask him or her why he's charging the price he's charging, it's because the neighbor is charging that price. So they look at the neighbor's price and then set a price which is lower or the same. is not based on facts of how much they are putting in, how much they are incurring in making their goods or dealing in goods. And going back to your story, you made it very clear. When we are costing, we have three things that we have to include in the final cost of our products. One is what we call the direct materials cost. The money we spend on things that become part of the goods we sell, or the money we spend on things that actually are the things that we sell. You have to include that cost. The second is called the direct labor cost. The money we spend on the workers that help us make the goods we sell, or that the workers that help us in running our businesses. And then the third one are what we call indirect costs or operational costs. The money we spend on things that help us run our businesses, such as electricity, such as rent, such as a trading license, such as water. Those are things that you don't sell, but they help you to do the business that you do. So you have to add up all these and factor them into the product you're selling. And so when you come up with your cost, then you are able to determine how you price your good. Because the price is a combination of your profit and the cost, the money you have incurred in making your product. So costing is inevitable. It is something we train young people and women at the ILO. And if you don't cost, then that's why we have a high mortality rate of businesses in Uganda. So I want to encourage everybody in this room that if you need more training or more support regarding to costing your products or services, we are available. We can help you to allow your business to thrive, to employ yourself and employ others. I thank you.
Have you thought of creating a business but have failed to set it up? Or have you set up one that is still struggling? With the ILO and European Union on the Dare to Dream show, you are assured of finding business solutions from certified trainers and licensed master trainers to help build your business dream. This business information can also be got from different ILO resource manuals that have topics such as generate your business idea, start your business manual, marketing, people and productivity, costing, record keeping, and many others. Watch Dare to Dream to make your dreams come true. Welcome back from the break. You're still watching Dare to Dream. I'm your host, Iguma Gabriel, and today we bring you Blessed Grace Aleng. She rears rabbits and she gets money from doing that. I have young entrepreneurs here and aspiring entrepreneurs. Let's take more questions for you, Grace. Who'll ask the next question?
Yes, my name is Mukisa Francis. I'm wondering, where can I find those rabbit sausages? From the supermarkets I've been, there hasn't been.
Thank you so much for your question. It's a challenging question, mostly to me. Yeah, they haven't been to. I first did a market tester, and so the market tester actually came out very successfully. It was so nice, and during that tester, I got to go out to 2 supermarkets, and you're going to be finding them in those 2. As soon as we get the funds to begin producing, because currently we can't produce when we don't have like enough sustainability down here. Because, well, I told you when I need 7 kilos of rabbit fillet to make sausages, to make a certain number of kilos, I have to slaughter 14 or 15 rabbits, because you may find that a rabbit, even though it weighs 2 kilos when it's alive, when you slaughter it and take off the head, take out the legs and the intestines, then you only fillet it out, it is going to cost, it is going to end up making less than a kilo, even less than a half a kilo. That's why we need a number of rabbits in the back to be always there so that we can always produce. And yes, we are already working on this. That's why we are getting to work with these youths. But we are also facing a challenge with funding. So when we have the funding and these youths are bringing in the rabbits that they're rearing for us, then you're going to be having it also at Liquid Silk restaurant right in Bugolovi. I think you know where it is, at Village. At the Village Mall, and also at Hotel Rivonia. Yeah, we are currently still asking Piato to allow, and some other hotels and restaurants. You'll be finding it there.
All right, let's take another question.
I've seen you researching on how when we were getting to the business, which website did you get that information? Because before we start the business, we need to get more information about rabbit keeping.
You just go on net and mostly on Google and then write something to do with rabbits and it's going to come there. It's going to come. And maybe you can also find out more rabbit details from Kenyan farmers. Yeah.
All right.
So you just say,
from watching this show, if you're interested in rearing rabbits and starting it as a business, get in touch with ILO and get some business tips so that your business will not just be formed, it will grow and it will succeed. Let's take another question.
How much is a rabbit? Or if you've slaughtered, like those packs we've been seeing in the future, how much is a pack?
The packs, the prices differ from the different brands. Like sausages, when we're doing the testing, we're giving it at 20,000 a kilo, and believe me, people were buying them. But after the testing, we want to supply to our community. It's only 17,000 a kilo. That is the sausages. And then we have the liver, the rabbit liver. This one's price is so constant because to get rabbit liver, you have to have around 5 rabbits just for one pack of, yeah, so that goes for 15,000. It doesn't reduce in any way. And then we have the rabbit wing, which goes for 12,000.
Rabbit what?
Wing.
Wing?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, rabbits fly.
Well, you could actually say that. Have you seen them jump? You should come to my farm, because when they're excited, they don't really fly as such, but then the way there is a way they jump, and then they have these other legs are just the thighs. You feel that they are actually heavier than this side. These are smaller and they are in a wing form, so we call them rabbit wings.
All right.
Yeah. Then we also have the rabbit thigh, which goes for 12. The fillet goes for 13,000. And then the rabbit whole goes for 35,000.
The whole rabbit?
Yes.
Okay. Let's take another question.
By names of Chiza James. Now I'm asking on this that mainly we young entrepreneurs and we love to start new things. So how did you come up, and financially, how did you start? So you might be with an idea and you fail to start due to finance. So I wanted to know on that. How did you start up and all that? Okay,
Grace?
Yeah, how did I start? Well, I first had the idea born. Like I first got the idea. That is after visiting my grandmother, if you've watched, the documentary. And then I had some savings that I used to do all through school, but then I did not know what to use the money for. So that is the money that I actually injected. And thank God I had someone that already had some free place that they could offer me to start up with. And that is my auntie Natalia Blessed Favor, whom I call actually my mother. So I asked her for a place, and we had a boys' quarter that weren't actually using. She was using it, and if it was another person, she would rent it out, but then she offered it to me, and I decided to remodel it and repair it a bit to turn it into a local rabbit house. That's how I started. Yes.
All right, let's take another question. There's a lady at the front.
Do you face any challenges with the prices of your product? Because in Uganda, when you bring a product, they actually want to buy the product at the same price they've been buying a kilo of beef or chicken or anything.
Thank you so much, Jonjo. You're very right. I face a huge number of problems. Why? Because people want to eat good. They want to eat the white meat. Everyone knows that. Actually, not everyone, but I should tell you this, that rabbit meat is the best meat you can ever have. It's white meat, and it speaks to a lot of diseases, high blood pressure, diabetes, and everything. And yeah, it increases the general body metabolism of a human being. And most people are getting to know this, but they don't want to spend for it, just as you say it, most people in Uganda. So when you go and tell them that a whole rabbit costs 35,000, everyone is going to be like, oh, 35,000, they think this is a lot of money, and yet they don't know the value that this is bringing into them. Yes, I have a huge problem with the prices, but then people are getting used to it. Most of the clients are getting used to it. and they're getting to appreciate it because the quality of our products of Turkey Bit is to the highest standards.